Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini episode, I have many stories to read to you all today, folks. I have a purple Mothman encounter, and I have several Bigfoot stories from Alaska. Let's get into the first article, folks. Purple bat-winged humanoid encounter reported near Greensburg, Indiana. Here why basically, Mothman is in this part of the state and in this or near this town, folks. Let's get into it now. In the summer of 2014, a quiet residential area near Greensburg, Indiana, became the setting for a brief but unsettling encounter. What began as a routine moment involving a family pet quickly escalated into a close-range sighting of a winged humanoid form. The details align in unexpected ways with a broader pattern of Midwestern reports of winged humanoids. The witness stated that the incident occurred approximately 11 years ago during the summer of 2014 while living in a small subdivision near Greensburg located in Decatur County. The home sat directly in front of a wooded area with a large clearing behind the house bordered by a fence built by the witness's father. A greenhouse and a storage shed were positioned within the backyard, and beyond the tree line sat a small trailer park. On a cloudy day, the witness went outside to retrieve their dog, who had been outdoors longer than usual. Concerned, the witness descended the balcony steps into the backyard. At that moment, the dog ran toward the trees and began barking aggressively. Looking up into the trees, the witness observed a humanoid figure standing approximately 6 feet tall. The being was purplish in color and possessed large, bat-like membrane wings. The witness believed the creature noticed their presence as it began moving through the branches and dense foliage, appearing to attempt flight. Due to the thickness of the trees, it was unable to take off fully. Frightened, the witness ran back up the balcony stairs and watched as the dog continued barking toward the wooded area. Within moments, the creature was no longer visible. The witness reported feeling alarmed and uncertain about where it may have gone. The witness stated that their memory became foggy after this point, but they believe they retreated inside the house and hid. No sound was ever heard from the creature, and the witness did not observe the wings fully unfurled during the encounter. Years later, after learning about reports of winged humanoids in the Chicago area, the witness felt compelled to report the experience. They emphasized that the unusual purple coloration, the bat-shaped wings, and the disproportionately large head, the encounter lasted only moments, yet left a lasting impression. Indeed, folks, it probably did. And the fact that this creature was purple of all things, it's surprising. Most encounters with a Mothman or flying cryptid-like entity reported as having black skin or literally tar-like skin, but sometimes even gray or cement-like skin has also been stated, folks, at least colored like that. But here we have a literal purple entity being seen. Perhaps maybe it was just light reflecting off of this creature's exterior and this guy mistook it for purple, or indeed this entity was a very unusual color. Why? We don't know, but maybe it points to the fact that this winged entity wasn't like basically the other winged humanoid sightings that have been basically seen in the Midwest so far, folks. Perhaps this wasn't a Mothman, maybe it was something else entirely, but indeed it was a flying humanoid, but we can't be for sure. All we know for sure, folks, is that if you yourself saw such a creature, it would probably leave a lasting impression on you that would probably, last years or maybe for the entirety of your life. That much I can know for sure. Now, folks, what do you think of it? We can talk about a little more about this later after we read the next article and stories. The Alaska Hairy Man. Ancient legends, modern science, and the mystery of the Alaska Triangle. Indeed, folks, people have seen Bigfoot-like entities in Alaska, and in particular in this area, that people have said, it's very much like the Bermuda Triangle. So let's get into this article about these sightings. Across Alaska's vast tundra, river deltas, and coastal forests, stories of a towering, hair-covered being have persisted for generations, known by many names, including Hairy Man, Yuravaluli, and Natandanag. This presence is woven deeply into native tradition and continues to surface in modern eyewitness encounters with renewed attention brought by television investigations into unexplained disappearances. These accounts are once again raising difficult questions about what may be moving unseen through Alaska's wilderness. Let's get into the first story. The Alaska Triangle and renewed attention. Public interest intensified following the History Channel series Missing in Alaska, which explored the so-called Alaska Triangle. The program examines a region associated with a staggering number of unexplained disappearances, often compared to the Bermuda Triangle. Investigators on the series include a former undercover police officer, a local folklorist, and cryptozoologist Ken Gearhead, a longtime colleague within fortune research circles. While the show evaluates conventional explanations such as terrain, weather, and wildlife, it also acknowledges Alaska's deep reservoir of folklore. Among the most persistent legends is that of the Hairy Man, a being some believe could be connected to both sightings and unexplained vanishings. So let's actually get into what we have to read here. Modern eyewitness accounts from western Alaska. In 2011, Dana Kopanek and his nephew were set netting for whitefish along the Tabernac River near Bethel. As they approached their nets, they noticed what appeared to be a person moving through dense willow brush. The figure stood well above the foliage, taller than a grown man, and was visibly covered in hair with no clothing. At first, Kopanek assumed it might be another fisherman, but the being's size, posture, and behavior did not match a human presence. For nearly 10 minutes, the two watched it move deliberately along the riverbank before it disappeared from view. Only later did they agree that what they had witnessed aligned with descriptions of the hairy man long spoken of in the region. Despite skepticism from wildlife officials, including local biologists who insist no such creature exists without physical evidence, other residents have shared corroborating details. Berry pickers have reported large human-like footprints impressed into tundra soil, distinct toe impressions, and a strong, unfamiliar odor, often accompanied by an unsettling sense of being watched. That was interesting, but let's move on to the next chapter in this article. Encounters on Alaska's North Slope. Far to the north, near the community of Barrow, and south toward Attigasuk, a family that has camped in the region for decades began reporting repeated sightings of massive bipedal figures. Beginning only in recent years, these beings were described as standing up to 10 feet tall, dark in coloration, and appearing primarily during fall hunting season. For longtime residents who had never encountered such creatures before, the sudden appearance was deeply troubling. Elders acknowledged that older generations spoke of similar beings, but many believed those stories belonged to a distant past. And then we have the next stories, folks. Nananag and the abandonment of Port Cathrum. Perhaps the most chilling accounts come from the southern Kenai Peninsula in Sikhistan. Tradition, the Nananag is described as a tragic half-man, half-beast figure. Elders recount that over time, repeated encounters with this being, along with other supernatural phenomena, terrorized residents of Port Cathrum, later known as Port Lock. Hunters reportedly vanished without a trace. Others were said to have been found mutilated in ways inconsistent with bear attacks. Giant footprints exceeding 18 inches in length were observed tracking moose into mountainous terrain. By mid-century, the village was abandoned entirely, its residents refusing to return. Even decades later, encounters persisted. Hunters described nocturnal visits to camps where something large and bipedal circled tents silently in the dark. These stories are shared cautiously, often without names attached, out of respect for tradition and fear of ridicule. So whatever you make of it, folks, something was up there in Alaska, and these are just a few of the stories. There are several more from this area, and particularly the Alaska Triangle. What are these entities, folks, and are they at all related to perhaps the Mothman phenomena? Because in both types of stories, folks, these encounters are happening, and no one can explain what they are. Sometimes they basically fit folklore, sometimes they fit something entirely different, like you see with basically the purple Mothman story we read earlier. They can have differences. Sometimes these entities can basically look like creatures out of even other types of folklore. People have described basically Bigfoot-like entities like trolls, and sometimes they've even basically said they are. But what do you make of it all? Are they related to each other, folks? Are UFOs and ghosts also part of this too? Because sometimes the accounts coming from them sound eerily similar to basically Bigfoot accounts. Because ghosts disappear and reappear at will. The same thing has been seen with, well, Bigfoot and UFOs. And Mothman, well, he's par for the course as well. Either way, folks, some people have said that all of this phenomena is related. Now, I would say yes and no. I think that these entities do possess this power, folks, and that they have similar abilities. But I wouldn't say that basically all falls under the same umbrella. While they have the same abilities, I think there are different organizations and peoples out there that have these abilities. But folks, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics that are bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions of the chat to go subscribe me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications. And please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video. So be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.